Sewing with linen is a delight, and especially if it's a little bit left over that I had to complete a set. Really classic A-line skirt with buttons, gorgeous, coming up. Hi sewing friends, I'm Karina from liftingpinsandneedles.com. Welcome to this channel that is all about sewing, limitless sewing, and I have a super gorgeous set to share with you. I sort of think in sets for a lot of the things that I make. Whenever I buy fabric that I like, I'm usually thinking 2 pieces would be amazing, and then I can wear them separately as well. Usually the skirt comes second, usually the top comes first. And I sewed the jacket last year and I had a little bit left over for a skirt, and that's what it's become. Very happy with the result. It means that I had to change the buttons for the little jacket so that they would match the buttons on the skirt. Turned out amazing. And the pattern that I used is the Chelsea skirt from Pattern Emporium. It's not the panels that swish out at the bottom. They're sort of just like that. So on the front you have 4 because you have a button down center. The placket is integrated into the center front piece. So it's super easy. There's no separate pieces. You just interface that, fold it in. There are lots of pocket options in this skirt. You can sew it with no pockets, which is what I had to do because I was very limited with fabric. But you can sew these diagonal pockets there. Super easy to sew onto the side front pieces. Or you can do patch pockets in 2 styles. One is bigger than the other, utility cargo style. I love those. If I would have had enough fabric, I would have done one of those patch pockets. On the back, there's 3 pieces because the center back is on the fold. So it's a little more simple on the back. Super pretty, curved waistband. And you can sew a mini, a knee length, and a maxi. For the maxi, there's 3 lengths: petite, regular, and tall. So there's a lot of options, and of course there's adjustment lines for you to customize the length that you prefer. This is the pattern that is 50% off through Sunday noon in Australia. Over here in this area, the sale will end on Friday night. So it's a really good time to get it for half off. Super great value with lots of options here. This is a classic A-line skirt with panels. I'll leave you my affiliate link at the top of the comment section, pinned right there on the top. If you do end up clicking on my link, it takes you directly to the website. You don't pay anything extra. It's just that I receive a small commission back from Kate, who owns and designs all the patterns at Pattern Emporium. So if you want to support the work that I do over here, that is one way that you can do it, and it doesn't cost you anything. Light to medium weight wovens are the best. I would say medium weights are the best because they tend to be less sheer and they hold the structure of the A-line skirt much better. You don't need the fabric to drape here. In fact, I think that if the fabric is too light and drapey, you can sort of miss the look of the A-line shape. For example, I wouldn't sew this in 100% rayon, really lightweight. Even a rayon twill, I wouldn't go there. Anything with drape for me would have to be medium bottom weight, like a tencel twill or a wool crepe. That would be the most drapey thing I would touch, but it would still have to have that weight. You would have a really easy time sewing the structured fabrics like 100% linen, linen cotton blend, linen rayon blend, a chambray, a denim, a corduroy, a velvet, a wool suiting. Cotton sateen would also be amazing and super easy to work. You need some fusible interfacing for the waistband and for the placket piece. It depends on what length you're sewing, how many buttons you need. I ended up using 8. I used biggish buttons, 3/4 of an inch. Size range goes from 6 to 20 Australian sizing up to a 48.5 inch hip. Both the waist and the hip should fit well because we don't have any elasticated feature or pull-up feature here. Finished garment measurements, you get about 1 inch to 2 inches of ease at the waist, which is perfect, and around the hips around 2 to 3 inches at the and around the hips around 2 to 3 inches of space. So this is not a super fitted skirt at all. I think it's perfect. I plotted my measurements, so no fitting adjustments other than choosing my size. That is 14 Australian right now. The finished lengths are also described in detail. I looked at the knee length there and thought I might need an extra inch. So I actually drew that extra inch in right at the hem just to keep it simple because it wasn't that much extra. But then when I was placing on my pattern pieces, I figured out I can't do that. So I had to trim that inch away and cut the original knee length, hoping it was going to be enough. I was always okay with doing a really small hem allowance, at least 1/2 inch, or doing a hem facing with bias tape or something if needed. But I was going to see that once I tried it on because in theory, I knew it was going to be short-ish. And I knew the process was going to be very, very simple in terms of fitting. In the tutorial, though, you have a full page and a half of how you can make a test garment, a really quick test garment. It's way more simple than making the actual skirt, so you can get the waist and the hips to fit really, really well. I'm going to show you a lot of the sewing. This is super easy to sew. I'm going to show you a lot about the curved waistband. I'm using a contrast waistband just because I didn't have enough to cut 2 layers. I could barely get the outer layers of the main fabric. And I decided to use a contrast fabric that matches the jacket that I'm going to pair with this. I'm going to show you in a little bit. So no one's ever going to see them, but when I see the 2 garments together, I see those inner fabrics, and that makes me super happy. So let's see how to whip up the Chelsea skirt. I'm using a linen rayon blend, super structured, navy, gorgeous. These are the waistband pieces for the Chelsea skirt. They are curved, so not rectangles, a little more work, but totally worth it for the nice fit. These are the front ones. They have a mark here where the overlap for the button is going to be. And so this straight edge there says grain line, so make sure that's on the grain line. That's exactly my selvage right there, and that's how I'm going to cut it. Block fusing as always. My piece is already interfaced and larger, and I'm just going to cut that. 2 from the main. For the inner waistband, I'm going to use this. It's going to look super cool on the inside. This is a cotton shirting material. And my back waistband is cut on the fold. But because I like to cut them in a single layer and extend it, I just put extra paper and just made it one piece. I have my main fabric here already interfaced and my inner waistband in there. I'm going to cut these at the same time. With block fusing, you're not going to have the unpleasant surprise that your waistband doesn't fit. If the fabric already did shrink a little bit, it's already happened. And now when I sew my waistband pieces, they are going to be exactly the same shape and size as my pattern piece. These are the pattern pieces for my Chelsea skirt. This is a linen, very small leftover piece from making the downtown jacket, also from Pattern Emporium. So I'm going to have a set. I'm very excited about that. I've cut the knee length. The center front is interfaced by 2 inches here from the edge. So I've already got that there. I went all the edge right up to the selvage. You can see that little selvage line there, but that's all going to be folded in. No one's ever going to see it. So that's for the button placket. Center front, side front. The back is on the fold right here, center back, side back. Waistband pieces, 2 fronts for the outer, 2 fronts for the inner. My back is extended here, the main and the inner right there. There are lots of pocket options that you could have sewn. I would have loved to sew patch pockets, but check out the amount of fabric left over I have. Let me show you up closer, the center front, the side front. These 3 little lines right there. So before I take this to the sewing machine, I'm just going to grab some pins and pin everything. So it's so much easier when you have a clear visual of what you want to pin together. These 2 layers go together and I'm going to pin the bottom ones, and even 1 pin is enough. And I'm going to do the same with the back pieces. This is the best way to not get confused when you're assembling pieces that have lots of seams. They're straight seams, they're easy. The top of these skirt pieces is curved. It's going to match the curved waistband. Whenever you see anything curved, especially with linen like this, the risk of this stretching out is pretty big. Linen is not really tightly woven, so I'm just preventing this by stay stitching. A little under 3/8 seam allowance, which is what we're going to use later for the waistband. Regular stitch length. I'm going all along the top of the waist pieces. After stay stitching the waist, I went ahead and pinned all my pieces. It's ready to go, but I want to do this button placket first because it's just easier to get it pressed now. So my interfacing tells me where that fold is going to be. It's 2 inches from the edge. I don't want to eyeball that at the iron, so I've done some guide stitches. I've got white thread on the bobbin so that I can see it from where I need to see it. So I'm going to press that. And then from this edge, you need to press in by 3/8. So I've got that there. That little bit from the selvage is going to be hidden. Both of my fold lines here, like this, and then like that. And that's going to be the width of the button placket right there. So I'm going to go over to the iron and get this pressed. I took the time to pin all the pieces, the center front with the side fronts, the center back with the side back, everything. And I've put my pins quite far away from the edge. This is a very structured fabric, super easy to work with, not many pins required. And I'm just quickly going to do these 4 vertical seams. I'm doing them on the serger first just because it's easy and it's accessible. You can do the sewing machine first, then the serger. It's up to you. This is what I've chosen here. So I'm quickly just serging these, making sure I'm not trimming away anything to keep the seam allowance intact. Once I'm done with these 4 vertical seams, I'm also going to serge the edges of the sides because the side seams are going to be pressed open. I'm going to go ahead and sew them on the sewing machine. These are my front skirt pieces right here. I've pressed the seams going towards the side seams. The sides have been serged. I still have the raw edge at the bottom. I want to actually try it on a little later to see if I'm happy with the length. If I'm happy, I'm just going to fold it up with a small hem allowance, like 1/2 inch or something. If I find it's too short, then I'm going to add a little bias tape on the inside. So I'm not going to define that right now. And that's why I'm not in a rush to top stitch these plackets down. I have the memory crease. It's there. I can do that later. So I'm just going to make my skirt the traditional way. I'm going to sew the side seams and then I'm going to construct the waistband separately and sew the waistband in one go. In the tutorial, it shows you sewing on the main waistband separately, the front, the back separately, and then sewing the side seam, including the waistband. I've always liked sewing waistbands continually, so I'm just going to make this traditionally. After sewing the side seams, I press them open. I quickly tried on the skirt and figured out I don't need to do a special type of hem here. I can just do a small hem, 1/2 inch. So I've gotten my placket area and just folded it onto itself, right sides together along that fold. You can see the interfaced area right there. There's my first little fold. And I just sewed it here with that 1/2 inch seam allowance, and that's going to finish the bottom of the skirt. So when I flip it, it's going to end up super neat here, super crisp. That's how the placket is going to be. And my hem is going to come from behind it there. It's going to be a small hem, but it's the length that I need. I should have made the skirt longer, but I didn't have more fabric. So I'm going to be doing that hem by hand. Right now, I'm going to repeat this on the other center front at the bottom and then top stitch this placket down. And then I'm ready to sew on the waistband. This is another presser foot. This has an L on it. It's also a type of blind hem presser foot, but different. When you move this, it moves this edge in or out. So you can actually get whatever seam allowance you want, and it's really helpful. I've set it here to about 1/8 of an inch. Here are the waistband pieces. This is the main layer, the inner layer. I've got them pinned right here on the side seams. Remember, the back was on the fold, and then there's the front. Remember, this straight edge is the one that needs to be loose here. This slanted edge is the one that goes on the side, and same as for these. So it's 4 tiny seams, press them open, and then we're going to extend them lengthwise and put them together like this, right sides together. So I'll just go ahead and assemble, do all these steps. I've got both the inner waistband and the outer waistband together after sewing the little seams. It's a pretty long curved piece. I've got the interface side on the top, it's the most stable one, and I've got the uninterfaced one on the bottom. Here you can see my seam at 3/8. You can see that on my outer layer, I have pressed it in already by 3/8. I did that by doing a guide stitch first, pressing it, and then removing that stitch. And this inner waistband is just normal. So I like creating a whole waistband piece to sew onto the skirt. The whole waistband is curved, so I'm going to do a few snips here. I'm not going to trim the seam allowance smaller. I think this is okay, 3/8. But I do want to understitch, especially because I've got a contrast inner waistband and I don't want that to be seen on the edge of the seam. So I've extended my waistband open. I've got the seam allowance tucked in underneath the print, underneath the cotton, and I'm sewing on the edge. Here I've got the inner waistband pinned to the waist. This is going to look like this. So the longer edge of the waistband, that's what's sewn onto the waist of the skirt right here. I'm doing this on the reverse, so my waistband is pinned right side of this fabric to the wrong side of the skirt. So here you can see the wrong side of the skirt. There's the side seam open right there. This is sewing it on the reverse. I've matched up the side seams. This little mark matches the seam right here. I've got 3/8 protruding here, so I can close that up in a second. Matched up the center back. You'll see these little marks everywhere that match the seams of the skirt. So easy. So now I'm just gonna sew this at 3/8, follow this curve. Okay, this is the right side of the skirt now. This seam allowance that I've just sewn, I'm going to press it up like that, bring this waistband over, cover the seam. This is how we're going to top stitch, but first we have to finish the center. All we need to do is fold it like this, match up the folds on both sides. Over here, I left this area free from understitching so it wouldn't get in the way. So you see there's no understitching right there. And so now I'm just going to sew this closed right there on the edge, flip it to the other side, and we're done. Now I'm going to fold this here on the corner and flip it. So that's how this is going to be finished right there. I'm going to do the same on the other side, press it, neaten it up, and then we're going to edge stitch there, and that finishes the waist. And then all I have to do is buttonholes and buttons. I have even done my hand hem right here. What I sewed last year was the downtown jacket. It was released. It was brand new back then. And I made two versions in that opportunity. One was a short sleeve linen version, little easy collar. I doubled up my yoke and I used this cotton shirting that I've been using for a long time after I had a bit left over from making an actual shirt. I think it always looks super, super pretty. Center back is top stitched. The pockets here are amazing. They're elongated right there. So I took out the buttons, sewed them again, and added some over here as well. Just for decoration. There's no function here. It's just decorative. And I love the combination of the wood with the navy. I'm showing you the garment that inspired the set. I always knew the skirt coming later on was going to be super exciting for me. Check out the inner waistband. To get into the skirt, I only need to unbutton these two or maybe these three. I could slip it on up and then just close them, so it's really easy. You could have pockets in this section here. I just don't have them because I didn't have enough fabric. Here is the easy placket with all my buttons. I sewed them 6 centimeters apart, the buttonholes, which is about 2 3/8, typical for what I do, especially in this area where your tummy is. You don't want any gaping there. I had the tiniest bit left over that I didn't want to, just throw away. And it was just enough to cut these patch pockets for the back. I got these jean pockets from another pattern. They were small enough to fit the fabric that I had. And so I just sewed those on right there at the very end. And I also put buttons on there as a little detail. Here are the seams on the back, center front, center back on the fold. I did my hem by hand because that's what I like doing. It's a small 1/2 inch hem, which I think is okay for me. And it turned out amazing. I think the construction of the main skirt was super easy to achieve. The plackets, all very easy. Even the waistband at the end was just all okay. And I like the reverse method. That's how it looks like on the inside. It's very, very neat. Love those stripes. No one's going to see them. This is super soft against my skin as well. So nice. Placket on the inside for the buttons is very neat. I would love one of these in a denim. I would love one of these in black denim. I just love my skirts, you know that. And I think the knee length is the best option for me. This is my gorgeous Chelsea skirt from Pattern Emporium. I love this. This is a knee-length version. There's a mini and maxi as well. It's a paneled skirt, A-line, super classic with a button front. The little top is one of my songbirds from Pattern Emporium that can be made in a knit or a woven. This is a linen with a print, navy and white. I really love the combination here. The fact that it's a shorter top goes beautifully over the A-line shape of the skirt. Fabric is pretty structured. You can really see the seams there on the back and the front. It's so nice. Up closer, check out this curved waistband. You can sew different types of pockets on the front, but I didn't have enough fabric. With a tiny bit left, I added my own patch pockets at the back. That's something extra. And I put little buttons there to match the ones on the front. It's such a beautiful skirt. So comfortable. The fit is amazing. I've got a size 14 Australian. And I'm really going to love this skirt. I didn't have a navy skirt in this style at all. Here I've got it paired with my sweet Toka blouse. It's got bubble type sleeves. It's so beautiful in cotton embroidery and glaze. I've got it tucked in so you can see the details. Fun leather snake print sneakers there in a bag. Matches the buttons. I love the combination of these neutrals with the navy. The pockets at the back add something extra. I think I would have added those regardless because I like back pockets. I love how this looks super casual, but like I made a bit of an effort with a really nice blouse also. Here I've paired it with one of my chiffon blouses that has navy accents in a cotton shirting. I really love it, tucked in. You can see the skirt could have been a little bit longer, but I was working with a little bit left over, and that is the maximum length I could get, which is still super nice. I couldn't wear it shorter than this, so this is the shortest I would go, and it looks really cute with a chiffon blouse. Really lovely outfit. I'm very comfortable as well, and I love it. Love the little print there with the navy, so beautiful. Now this is what I had been dreaming about, the set. The jacket is a downtown jacket, also from Pattern Emporium. I made it last year. I had that little bit left over. I always knew at some point I would make a skirt, and here we go. I think it's really nice. Downtown jacket length is perfect for the A-line shape. Both styles go together beautifully. I've got a little silk cami tucked in there that I made years ago, more than 10 years ago, my own pattern, and I love it. I changed the buttons of the jacket to match the buttons for the skirt. I initially had other buttons there on the jacket, and I'm so happy with the set. Anytime I have a brand new set, I'm just so happy because it's so easy to get dressed. You know, I can wear these separately, of course, but just having this together is a huge boost for me. Absolutely love it. Just buy a little bit of extra fabric whenever you make a jacket for a skirt. You don't have to make them at the same time, but eventually if you get it done, you'll be happy. Love this. Every time I get a brand new set, I'm just thrilled. It's just the best thing. Look at this downtown jacket, Chelsea skirt, perfect. I also have another set with the downtown jacket and the Easy Does It skirt in a print, cotton sateen. Love that set as well, super beautiful. I love the no fuss here, you know, it's just very simple, no bulk around the waist. The fit is amazing with the curved waistband, which is always a plus. Have a look at the Chelsea skirt, I recommend. It's a classic, you'll always be able to wear this. That's all from me just for now because I've got 2 episodes already half cooked up for you that are coming very quickly in succession. Make sure you hop back in once I post again. See you then. Happy sewing.